Let me begin. So, look to your left and to your right. The people next to you look entirely ordinary, right? Nothing seems to be out of place. So, if you were to walk past them on campus, you wouldn't stop to ask them how's your day or how they were feeling, because nothing seems wrong. So why should you care? Well, according to a study by NH, 1 in 7 people, Singaporeans, experience a mental illness during their entire lifetime. This means that at least 3 people in this room could have a mental illness. 3 people that you share a class with. An article, mental illness in Singapore, is something that's rarely spoken about. Until this year, when Straits Times released an article that stated that there has been a spike in youth suicides, in boys aged 10 to 19, with 19 boys that committed suicide last year, triple that of of the previous year. The vice chairman of the medical board at the Institute of Mental Health has stated that by targeting youth, we can understand what is making them ill and take preventive measures. This is because youth face the most changes both emotionally and physically. And this can be an unsettling period for most of us if there is no emotional support from family or friends. You must be wondering, why do these youth not seek help themselves? Why must we help our friends? Well, the social stigma in Singapore is still holding youth back. Singapore is still a largely conservative Asian society, and we are more hesitant to openly talk about mental health. As such, youth may find that they'll bring shame to their family if they ever try to seek help. A survey by the National Council of Social Surveillance stated that 50% of those surveyed don't want to work, live, or study with someone with a mental illness. This shows that the stigma is not being eradicated. In fact, it can be referred to as a fog that is clouding people's vision. They are not seeing that those with mental illness are still people that have emotions and dreams, just like me and you. Which is why I'm standing before you today, to help our peers through their hard times, so that they don't have to suffer alone. I will end off my speech with my own personal experience. I recall how it felt to have my friend call me at 2 in the morning, crying and telling me that he wanted to kill himself. The hopelessness I felt then, not knowing what to do to help him in this situation. Thankfully, he's still alive today, and I can say that hopefully through our presentation, we can make sure that you don't have to experience something like that, and that even if you do, you'll be able to deal with this situation. Cassidy.
Thank you, Kalinski. As Kalinski had mentioned, there is a negative stigma surrounding people with mental health issues in Singapore, and this could lead to dire consequences. Today Online recently published a poll which revealed that approximately half of 940 teenage students in Singapore attach negative and derogatory labels to people with mental health issues. This tells us that there is a trend of poor mental health literacy amongst youth in Singapore. However, we believe that this phenomenon is not entirely irreversible. To begin, I would like to do a quick activity. All of you, please close your eyes for just a few seconds. I want you to imagine that you have recently gotten into a really bad car accident, which has left you severely injured. Instead of showing care and concern, your friends come up to you and ask you things like, why don't you just ignore the pain? It'll probably go away in a few days. Or even, how do I know if you're really injured? Could you be faking it to seek attention? I know it sounds absolutely absurd, but that's the point. If such questions keep being thrown at you, you eventually begin to have it reinforced within you that it is no longer necessary to seek treatment when you are physically injured. Now I want you to take a few moments to reflect on this. Could this perhaps be how people with mental illnesses deal with the reality of seeking treatment? The topic of mental health lies within a grey area, simply because it is not concrete or tangible. You cannot see when someone is having a mental illness. This gives rise to many misconstructions about the biological basis of mental health issues. Today, I hope that I'll be able to clear up some misconceptions that you guys might have in relation to mental health issues. I'd like to refer to a Harvard research article which explains that mental illness is caused by a chemical imbalance in the brain, which means that people who suffer from mental illness have neurons in their minds which work differently from ours. Other factors which contribute to mental illness includes faulty mood regulation, genetic vulnerability, stressful life events, including childhood trauma. Well, what do all these factors have in common? All these factors simply cannot be controlled by individuals themselves. This tells us that, for one, mental illness is not something that people choose to have. It is not something that we choose to feel or choose to act on. Apart from that, it also tells us that mental health issues can and should be treated through proper procedures. To summarize, I would like to share a story which really inspired me. On Singapore Mental Health Film Festival's website, an anonymous poster shared her story about her battles with depression and anxiety due to years of battling with body dysmorphia. She ends off her story by sharing words of encouragement, which I will now give you guys some time to read. We too hope that you guys will eventually conquer any mountains that you guys might have, and to seek help, and to always help those around you if they ever need help. I'll now hand over the time to Cheryl, who will further elaborate on how to seek help and how to help others.
Thank you, Cassidy. As mentioned, mental illness is not a choice. However, it is a fact that the stigma against mental illness still exists in our society. Though this may seem very depressing and dreary, there are still things that we as youth can do to alleviate this issue. May I have a show of hands how many of us have siblings, relatives, or friends whom are around the same age as us? Thank you. I see that most of us have siblings or loved ones or friends whom are youth just like us. And you may never know, the youth suffering from mental illness might be your loved ones or close friends. Another question, how many of you have social media accounts, example Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Facebook? Thank you, me too. So I see that most of us are also active on social media, right? And by following our loved ones on Instagram or social media platforms, we can in fact have access to their deepest emotions buried within them. Because as reported by CNA, the youth tend to reveal their true feelings or states of mind in their private accounts on Instagram stories. And by following them on Instagram, we might even be able to recognize something abnormal with them, which will lead us to stop them from doing harmful things that might harm themselves. For instance, just this year, a 16-year-old girl, closer to home, there was an article about this 16-year-old girl who killed herself in Malaysia because she posted an Instagram poll asking her followers whether she should live or die, and 69% of the respondents responded that she should die. This highlights a very important question. Would this girl still be alive today had her followers responded that she should live instead? Would she have heeded their advice to seek professional help had they done so? Therefore, let's not underestimate our power as youth to help those that we love. I recall watching a documentary by CNA called Facing Depression, where one of the youths interviewed was this girl called Charmaine, whose mother supported her throughout her mental health recovery through open interaction with her. And as youths, we can do the same to help those close to us. Here are some possible little steps that we can start taking to help our loved ones who might potentially be suffering from mental illness. Firstly, understand and learn to accept that a person may demonstrate unusual thoughts or behavior as a result of the mental illness he or she is suffering from. Listen and try to understand what he or she wants or is trying to express. Avoid making hurtful comments when you are frustrated. The important thing here is to be empathetic, to try to put ourselves in the other party's shoes and learn to respect the other party's emotions. And as for people who might be suffering from mental illness, I want you to know that it is important for you to accept your emotions and respect them and love yourself. Mental illness is nothing to be ashamed about. And it's just that any other illness that needs to be treated. It doesn't make you anything less of a human being. And now here's what the suicide survivor has to say to encourage young people who might have suicidal thoughts like her.
I know what it's like to have a lot of questions that are answered. So I've been on both sides of the coin. But I would say to someone, if you're struggling with suicide right now, just hold on for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe 1 day more. Things can change for the better. And I know it's painful. I know it hurts. I know that you feel that you're a burden to everyone. But these are just lies. These thoughts are not true. Don't do it, and you'll be missed.
Thank you, Cheryl. As mentioned just now, 1 in 7 Singaporeans has experienced a mental disorder in their lifetime. But what really surprises me is that among those who indicated to have experienced mental illness, 78.4% did not seek professional help. Even among those who sought help, treatment delay is a very common phenomenon. The same study has shown that treatment delay among OCD patients alone can reach as long as 11 years in average. Let's think about it. If you have an illness and you are not seeing a doctor, what is likely to happen? You may miss the best time for treatment. According to the Ministry of Health, studies shown that late detection or delayed treatment can cause the condition to worsen. Why suffer in silence? There's so much ways to help you. If you ever find yourself trapped in a gloomy mode and unable to focus on daily activities, or feel so hopeless to the point of wanting to hurt yourself, it is time to notice that you have a mental illness. There's nothing wrong with it. It should have been tackled, just like a physical illness. If you are unsure about whether you have a mental illness, don't worry. The Community Health Assessment Team chat provides a platform for youths to take an anonymous mental health assessment online. If further help is needed, you can always request for a follow-up checkup with them. I do understand that, beside the social stigma, the high cost for psychotherapy may also hold back one's decision to seek help. This is especially so for youths who do not have any source of income and do not want to bring a burden to their parents. But how many of you here know that professional help in Singapore can be affordable or even free? Online counseling service such as EC2 Singapore provides free online chat counseling service to youths who may feel more comfortable expressing themselves through writing. The counselors will be available during weekdays from 2 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. You can even book an appointment with the same counselor in a chat room. Approaching your school counselor is also a good choice. Trained counselors are available in all schools in Singapore. They have the professional knowledge to help you deal with school stress and relationship problems. Furthermore, most of them are free. There are also non-profit organizations out there which help people suffering from mental illness out of charity. Shanyo provides professional counseling and social support services to people suffering from mental illness, regardless of ability to pay. In case of emergency, please call the helpline shown on the screen to get immediate help. I hope everyone could take out your phone now and snap a picture of it. If suicidal thoughts ever occur to you, just hold on for a little longer. There are people who value life and will be able to help you. Mental illness does not mean the end of the world. There are so many successful people who have to deal with mental illness at some point in their life. Do you know that Winston Churchill and even Albert Einstein have suffered from mental illness? However, their achievements are still acknowledged by the world. their illness did not make them any less capable. Well, coming to the end of my speech, I would like to share with you a quote from Pastor Rick Warren. Your illness is not your identity. Your chemistry is not your character. Therefore, do not let your illness define who you are. Thank you. Please feel free to ask any questions.
I'll ask them. So what happened last year was like my friend actually committed suicide last year, and like there were a few reasons behind it, but one of the primary reasons was because he got diagnosed with general anxiety disorder, and he got prescribed these set of drugs by the psychiatrist. However, these drugs actually, I think the consult went wrong, and these drugs are actually likely have a chance of increasing suicidal tendencies, and they are not supposed to be consumed with alcohol, but the psychiatrist allowed him to. Do you think this lack of like mental health awareness has also like actually infiltrated in hospitals and like help for mental health in general?
Yeah, surely there is a lack of like education for such thing. And in hospitals, I think the biggest problem is that because there is really a very long waiting time to get treatment, and there is a very long time gap between each appointment. So sometimes the doctor may not follow up with how the patient is actually feeling, and the patients what they can do is just following the instruction until they see the doctor again. So yeah, so we think that it is very important for us to be really open to talk about this topic. That is why we are trying to clear people's stigma towards this problem. And I hope that we can all take the effort to learn about this topic. We can do some research in our free time. We can tell our friends about what we can do during such situations, yeah, to avoid such thing happening.
Okay. Firstly, I just want to say my condolences. I think that the reason why we are presenting is basically there's one part that I think Cheryl covered about family being like more involved. I think like that this kind of problem should be like the idea of like medicine and things like that. Like family members should also be like responsible for it. I guess because someone is like at such a vulnerable state, it'll be very difficult for them to like they'll just like trust whatever the doctor says. And I think the family member also has like this like really huge responsibility to ensure that everything that like all their treatment and things like that like runs smoothly. Yeah.
I mean, like you said that you asked if the stigma infiltrated the hospitals and all these treatment centers, right? So I feel like maybe because to seek treatment itself is quite expensive, and maybe even the doctors that work in these kind of mental health kind of places, maybe they themselves never experienced something like that, because like another group talk about like the education gap and all that, because they are in a more privileged environment, they don't really experience these kind of things. So maybe like you said, the stigma is not completely like they have grown up with this stigma, it hasn't been eradicated yet. So that's why our group presented today, like to help target youth, so it will through generations it will slowly die away like the stigma.
Yeah, I think I'll be careful this point on family support, especially. I think like as much as the drug can help to solve your mental illness, but actually the long-term treatment comes with a lot of family support, a lot of care and understanding. So if they, of course the doctor had to play a role. It could have been like an accident, it could be just simply a lack of awareness. I think this, because we are all interconnected, so I think this is a part that we all have to play, which is why we targeted different, we targeted friends, we targeted family, and we targeted youth themselves. That's the reason.
How would you deal with someone who refuses to admit that they have depression, like they obviously have?
How would we deal with? I mean, if they
Not
don't.
deal about.
I mean, that's why we are presenting today, because we want people to open up to others. to just admit their problems so that people around them can actually help them and support them. Yeah, so
And not just that, I think like another point I want to bring about is like the rising suicide cases and things like that. It proves that there is like a detrimental impact of like mental illnesses, and this is why we believe that like youths can be like that immediate solution to be like a listening ear, because like I mean, who would like immediately talk about depression to like a relative or family member? It's usually your friends that you start to like open up to, and of course it takes time. Like it's not something that like people will be very comfortable to talk about. But I guess that's why we're encouraging people to like just keep asking, just like keep your friends in check, even if it's too small actions.
Yeah, and I also think about the point about social media. I think it's also because many youths nowadays use social media, so they might share their personal thoughts on social media as well. So keep a lookout on whether they suddenly show any abnormal symptoms. Thank you.
Thank you.